Yeah. Play a T,
From
that's
105 in Superior to 105 in St. Clair, we got 17 churches.
Right.
You know, but we don't see no unity amongst the churches,
Right.
even on the block, which
Right.
also inspired us not to be in opposition with the church, but to say that we're here to help the church. Because we got 17 churches from 105 in St. Clair to 105 in Superior, and when I walk that block, I don't feel God's presence. Our focus at the Khnemu Group, and I got like some wonderful brothers and sisters, you know, never will I even allow myself to portray like it's just me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I got,
Right.
you know, I got Dr. Reverend Shane
Okay.
from over on West 130th at the African Methodist Church. You know, my spiritual advisor, my brother in word and deed, you know, awesome.
Right.
You know, that helped spearhead this whole project because he believed in, he say he about the people.
Right.
You know, I got, you know, Melissa, Hollis, you know, so many people.
Right.
That, and my thing is that it ain't my vision. You know, just like when I talked to you and your crew.
Right.
You know, I said I'm just merely the spokesperson, and that if what I say, you know, you find it in your heart that it makes sense, then it becomes your vision.
Right.
You know, and that's why, you know, we first had our logo as teamwork make the dream work, but I realized it's more than one dream.
Right.
You know, so it's need to be teamwork.
Now
make
the
dreams work.
Khnemu Group. Can you tell us what that means? What that even
Well,
means?
the Khnemu Group is building entrepreneurship within the inner cities, but based on, you know, like I say, getting it more developed with other great minds. You know, we realized that because the whole objective was strengthen our environment and the marginalized and the disenfranchised. And so since I am a person of color, I start with people of color. You know, not that I exclude it to black only, but I'm a firm believer, you know, get your house straight first.
Right.
And so in trying to do this, we say, well, what is the what can we find as a common ground? Because as a people, we find so many things that separate us.
Right.
So we chose to use as our two foundation points education and economics.
Okay.
You know, and we feel that through education and economics, we can change the degradation and despair that we face.
Right.
Realizing that we got $1 trillion buying power in black America, but we still disfranchised and powerless.
Right.
And I think that instead of us just fighting to keep the darkness out, we just really have to turn the light on.
Right.
You know?
Now the area that you want to uplift, you know, the Superior area, right? Well, it was once thriving. It was once called the Gold Coast. Right. Black-owned businesses up and down the thoroughfare. Right. Now, let me ask you a question. How do you not repeat some of the same mistakes? Because obviously with education and economics, there are going to be changes. Yes. And I feel that with a strong brother like you and the people you have around you, you're going to exact change. Yeah. You know, so how do you avoid the mistakes of, you know, the Gold Coast failing?
Well, you know, I rely on the ancestors, you know, and history, because I think that it's not just that, because the ideas that we've came up with ain't like they new ideas.
Okay, right.
You know, they go back to Freedomville, you know, Princeville, North Carolina, 1865, first African-American established town in America from freely enslaved to, you know, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street, you know. So, but what I think is unique is that in 2013, the verdict is in, and we can look back in retrospect and we can see, and it's not hard. Yeah, it's not hard to really convince other brothers and sisters where we at. Right. You know, I ain't got to talk about the $40 billion that they cutting off of welfare. I ain't got to talk about that. You see, because that's coming. See, when they talk about the Gold Coast, you know, it was predominantly Jewish.
Right.
You know, it's predominantly Jewish. And then the Jews, which is Jewish community, they move in packs, you know, because they understand very well group economics and the strength in that. So when they moved out, then we had an influx of, you know, black churches moving in, you know, and then we had the riots that didn't, you know, it was a necessary evil, but it didn't necessarily build the community as it kind of, you know, separated. But we talking about social capital. We talking about, so when they talk about the Gold Coast, we talking about the gold nuggets. And the gold nuggets is people that I see and them kids that walk around up and down the street every day. They got unsurmountable talent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, that's not been checked, that's not been addressed.
Right.
So, and we even got a play that we working on called The Gathering of the Golden Nuggets, because that's us.
A play.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because we got to get them from not only, we got to go viral, we got to give it to them orally, we got to give it to them visually, because everybody ain't going to listen. Some people going to look,
Well, you're a man with the belief that, if there's black businesses in the neighborhood and they should be making and manufacturing their own goods. If they're a restaurant and they selling fish, well, we'll grow the fish in the fish tanks. If we're sewing clothes, we've got the materials. We got the sewing machine. If we're selling clothes, you're a man of this belief. Talk to us about that. I mean,
Well, we had to get back. I think we come in full circle, because in a capitalistic society based on materialism, we was told at some point in this evolution that, time is money. Don't be making no clothes, and don't be, we got chicken for the low. What you gonna be growing chicken for? We need you to just go buy that chicken. So, and that's how we lost all our stores. Right. Because we chasing the big dream. I want $1 million. I don't want no penny candy and no 25-cent chips. It took the Arabs to come in here and show us, because they coming from a different dispensation.
Right.
It took the Arabs to come in here and buy out all mom and pops, and then say, you know what, we're going to take them. Matter of fact, we're going to sell all the penny candy, and if you don't ask for your pennies when you leave, we're going to keep them too. And we felt that from 105 in St. Clair to 105 in Superior is small enough but large enough to show a qualitative study, to be able to lower the crime rate, to be able to create some prosperity and hope within the people in that particular area. But really, our management model is, our business model is take your city, then take the state, then clone the country, with a focus on international business. But our management model is division of labor, specialization of parts, and cooperation between those parts, you see. So we first have to see what the workload is, and then we got to find people that's qualified.
So speak to the quantitative study.
Quantitative study is to create at least 17 businesses between 105 in St. Clair to 105 in Superior. Okay? Businesses that we spend in a 30-day cycle our money on. Okay? To create jobs where we hire people that's on public assistance, where we also hire ex-felons, or they got another term now that I really don't agree with, but it sounds cute, called returning citizens. But you can't be a returning citizen as long as the 13th Amendment, you understand, makes you a modern-day slave justifiably.
Right.
But that's something we'll have to address.
Right.
What I propose to the youngsters, because I ain't scared of them, I embrace them, but I want to let them know that we at the point right now where we either going to evolve or we're going to be extinct.
Do you consider yourself I know you're being modest. I know it takes more than one person. Do you consider yourself a leader?
I consider myself a servant. I'm a servant, and I'm in purpose.
In purpose.
And it ain't nothing else I want to do but this.
Now, do you feel like you're in a sweet position, man, knowing what you know, coming from your experiences that you had, being in the place you are now, do you feel like you're in a sweet spot to make an exact change that you want to see in your community?
I do. I think that I have been on the left, and I came off the left with high honors. When I think about the streets, I think I'm like alumni. Right. Like an alumni member of the streets. Right. Because I ain't broke no rules. Right. But also, you understand, I have a strong relationship with the intellectual part of our society. So I think that I'm a comfortable middle.
Right. No fear.
Fear that I don't do what I'm supposed to do.
Now that's what I fear. Now that's real fear. Now one thing I like, Fred, because Chuck brought it up to you one time before, man, all this real ambitions, they might come for you. First thing Fred did was roll up his sleeves and show the bullet wounds. Huh? That says a lot about that, man. I appreciate you, man.
Hey,
Thank you very much. Where can they reach you at if they want to support the Khnemu Group and reach out?
They can come. We on 966 East 105th Street.